The information contained in this video is intended for educational purposes. We are not responsible for any damage to your device resulting from improper disassembly or installation. Proceed at your own risk.
So this is an adhesive failure on an iPhone 6. Been seeing these come in every once in a while. It looks like someone was trying to save some money, so they probably bought a actually functional screen. The LCD looks good. Touch responds fine. The glass looks decent on the outside. The only problem is the adhesive that they use to hold this thing together is not sufficient to do so. So you can kind of see it's peeling up here at the top. If you're looking at just the right angle, you'll see light bleeding through. And despite the fact that this frame is a little bit bent, which they often are, we shouldn't have this right here where it's peeling up. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take the screen off and replace it, or actually add something to the glass to make it stick. I'm going to use crazy glue. There actually is a special glue designed for this purpose. This will work, but if you want to do it seriously and you think you're going to be seeing a lot of screens come in, I'll add a link down in the video description. But for all practical purposes, crazy glue, super glue, even the glue that they use for acrylic nails actually works pretty well. So what we'll do is we'll start by taking the two pentalobe screws out of the bottom, right next to the lightning connector. And then we're going to very carefully go underneath the edge of the bottom here with a pry tool. And usually it's pretty easy to get in between the frame and the metal housing. Once you do that, you want to also make sure that you're going underneath this plastic frame all the way up the sides. If you're not careful, you can actually go between the glass and the plastic, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. You'll see that the glass is separating from the plastic frame, which makes things even worse. But hopefully we can get this thing stuck back together without the whole thing falling apart. That's pretty bad, actually. Okay, so very carefully work your way up the side, and you should be releasing the plastic frame from inside the housing. And you can see it's getting hung up here. There we go. So you want these pieces to be visible, these metal parts to come out. And it's one situation where this might be helpful. There we go. All right, so from here we'll lift it up at the bottom, very slight pull down this direction, and then we can open it up. You want to have something to rest this on because you don't want to be causing excessive stress on these cables. They are very sensitive. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and disconnect the battery. So we've got two screws here that will release a metal piece that covers the terminal and the connector. So go ahead and take those out. Make sure you keep these in order. These screws are not interchangeable, and when you start mixing up screws, bad things can happen. So whatever it takes for you to keep them organized, be sure to do so. Once we get those out, we have this little metal piece here that we're just going to carefully lift off. Set that aside, and then we'll take our crowbar, as they call it, and go ahead and disconnect the battery. And it just kind of opens this direction. Then we have 5 screws up here at the top that need to come out. Don't get confused and take this one out. A lot of people do that. This is the one we're looking for right here. And of course, if you magnetize your driver first, your life will be much easier. All right, so we're going to go ahead and lift out this little cover plate here. Set that aside, and then we've got 4 cables to disconnect the display assembly. So you're going to have one over here. Actually, let's start with this. We're going to have one right here, one up here. Doesn't really matter too much what order you do these two in, because we've still got cables underneath them that you'll be able to see once you just kind of fold them back a little bit. We've got one more here, and then the last one is hiding just beneath this. Let's get a wider tool. We want to get under as much of this as possible. That way we don't bend it. These are very easy to bend. The fortunate thing is if you do bend them a little bit, you can kind of straighten them out. So we're going to remove this from the housing, set this stuff aside. And whenever you're working with glue, especially crazy glue, highly recommend you use some eye protection. If this stuff gets on your skin, it's a pain to deal with. If it gets in your eyes, bad things will happen. So again, I'm going to use this crazy glue, and you'll see the interesting thing is usually where we have the problem is over in this corner because there's not a lot to glue to. This is actually glass. This is all glass here. So the only place that it's bonded is over here in this corner. But interestingly enough, I'm having the problem on the other side here, and there's plenty of surface area. But if we take a look inside, I'm going to guess that they used some very low-grade adhesive. Probably thought they were going to do this with double stick tape, and with the iPhone 6, that just does not seem to hold very well. So what we're going to do is get some glue down inside there. Shouldn't take very much. Be very careful with this. If you're sloppy, you can make a mess, and some of it'll clean up. If you have acetone on hand, that's the best way to remove crazy glue. However, if it gets in the wrong spots, it can really just make a mess. So again, be careful. You don't want this stuff popping out and getting on your fingers or anywhere else for that matter. All right, so what we're going to do, probably apply it directly inside of these holes. I'm going to see if I can't just go down on the inside here and just put maybe a drop. I don't know if you can see that from here. I'm just going to take a drop, put it right underneath there, and then let's close up our glue before anything else leaks out. And then we'll make sure that when we push down on this, not with our fingers, I've got a clamp here somewhere. Right, so we'll go ahead and clamp this together for now and let it sit. And as long as none of that leaks out, we should be okay. All right, so we've had this on the clamp for about 30 minutes. It's probably more than long enough, and I was really careful not to get any glue on the outside here. And it looks like got a pretty decent bond. So we'll go ahead and put it back together, and that should do the trick.
If you found the video helpful, hit the like button and feel free to share it on the social network platform of your choice. Check out some of my recent repair and product review videos, and visit us on the web at gocellphonerepair.com. Thanks for watching.